we're going to get everything rolling, and then we'll get into the announcements. We've got quite a bit of stuff coming up for today, just so that you guys are aware. We're working behind the scenes, as always, to bring you guys as much as we possibly can. And today is going to be a big one for anyone doing auto body repairs. I'm just going to set up a few more things for you guys. I'm going to make sure I have a good internet connection for you, and then I get the chat set up right. Make sure all chat is on for you guys so that everything can be shown on screen for you guys. And I want to make sure I'm on a good internet connection for you guys so that's nice and solid. All right, here we go. All right, first chat is from our producer, everybody. So welcome to the show. Let's go ahead and kind of get started a little bit with today's topic. I'm going to do a little bit of house maintenance quick. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is clean for you guys when we do some of our projects. All right, so guys, welcome to Bad Wrench Live. This is part of the Bad Wrench Automotive channel. And what we do here is I do these live videos every Saturday at 1 p.m. Central, so you guys can see our repair process, how we go about fixing things we might look at that most places won't. I'll show you guys what the shops do, I'll explain what I do, and sometimes why that's different. It's important when you guys are picking some place to take your vehicle to have repairs done, that you guys get a good repair shop that will identify issues before they become issues. The reason for that is oftentimes you'll take your car somewhere thinking that they've looked over the car and everything's good and prepared when it really isn't. And how we can prevent that from happening is having a little bit of automotive knowledge ourselves, sharing what we know to help other people. Pretty soon my heater will kick out. You guys might be noticing some wind noise from that, so I'm going to move you guys over here just so that that's not really bothering you guys. Let me fix one more thing for you guys. There we go. All right. I needed to make sure that I had something set up for you guys. All right. Here's where we are at. You guys know the Malibu. You guys know the projects we've been doing on the Malibu. So what we're going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of a brief rundown right after I do the announcements that we do every week. Guys, make sure you're hitting the like button, hitting the subscribe button. We're really trying to grow this channel. We want 2025 to be our year where we start catching momentum on this channel. And we can only do that with your guys' help. So please really hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys ring the notification bell so you get notified when we go live. I have got a producer now behind the scenes that helps me with chat, helps bring things up. I carry an earwig so that I can hear kind of what you guys are doing when I'm tied into a project. So what we want to focus on is the project at hand. So now that we're done with the announcements, project at hand is our Malibu. This thing is a 2012 Malibu LT with the 2.4 liter in it. Last week, we did a massive timing project. It was crazy how much we did for timing on this. I'm going to give you guys kind of a brief rundown of what we did because it was really intense. And I found some things that I need to do to this car before I can put everything back together. And I'm going to run those down after we take a look at what we've already done to this. All right, so I'm going to flip you guys around so you guys can see exactly what we've done so far. All right, so last week, you guys did not see these covers on, and we had this whole side of the motor tore down and opened up. The top cam gears were exposed. I explained the marks and where those need to be. I showed you guys a trick to lock your cams into place so that they don't hit during that chain replacement. And I showed you guys everything underneath here. During this repair, I did a new harmonic balancer and a new belt tensioner. And it's going to be very difficult to see this belt tensioner with this on. The belt tensioner is down there, and we installed a new belt on this one. So why were these repairs really that important? Well, here's the thing. These Malibus have a fatal flaw. Let me cover the fatal flaw, and then we're going to talk about some of the stuff that hides behind your bumper, which is what the topic is about today. We're also going to get into tearing down our old one and salvaging what we can off of it. So anyone tuning in from any of the other social media sites, you guys will see what the topic was that I put up there. Those things are, we want to get that bumper tore down so we can get ready to put the new one on. The reason that this repair needed to happen is the GMs have a fatal flaw. The fatal flaw is in the 2.4 liters, the timing chains stretch. Also, the timing chain guides break. When those break, they will destroy this engine. In order to fix that problem, we need to do a timing chain on this. These timing chains on these engines need to be done between that 130 to about 160. Once you get above 160,000 miles on the engine, you run in the issue with those chain guides going bad and the potential chain stretch taking and putting too much slack into the chain where it'll jump. As I explained to you guys in that video, if that chain jumps, you total out a $2,000 engine. And that's a used engine with usually higher miles that needs you to have that timing chain put in before you put the engine in. So when you skip that repair, you still wind up doing that repair on the used engine. So these are the things that we try to let you guys know to get ahead of before it winds up taking the engine out. Now, if your vehicle already has 160 on it, you might not be concerned with doing a timing chain because you think the engine and the rest of the car is going to go at roughly the same time. So you may choose to ride it out as long as you possibly can. That is in a vehicle is at its end of its life situation. This one has a lot more life left in it. The body is not in bad shape. So for us to ignore what would have been in a repair shop, probably about a $2,000 repair, was worth us doing here in the garage and only costing me roughly about $500. So that's the difference between sometimes being able to do this yourself and being able to save yourself that money and prolonging the life of that engine. We had quite a few people in here. That was a good turnout when we first started. Guys, thank you for all the support. I appreciate all my mods. If you guys are in here, make sure you throw up those wrenches. I want to see you guys in here. My mod squad is awesome. I love you guys. You help make this channel so much better. And for anyone that wants to join our mod squad, just give content back in the information down below and we will wrench you up. Either me or my producer will wrench you. But give solid information for other people to use. So usually when people help out and they give really good information or help out somebody else in the chat, I always wrench people up. That being said, let's get into today's topic. What hides behind our bumpers? A lot of it is bracketry. So a lot of it is support brackets that hold the bumper. A lot of it is shielding for your radiator and AC condensers and your bumper support. So this bumper support is what absorbs the impact when you hit something. The bumper is a surface level thing. It's meant to look pretty and hide all of the stuff that takes the damage when there is an accident. So what you need to know is your bumper cover is cosmetic. It does nothing physical. Back in the day when we had old steel heavy bumpers, those things did a lot. If you hit something with an old steel bumper, oftentimes you wouldn't bend the bumper, you would destroy whatever it touched. That was many years ago, and bumpers have changed dramatically since then. Now they're more cosmetic than they are functional. And the cosmetic is meant to hide the framework underneath. Now, what else can lie underneath here? Well, we have sensors, and some of them are impact sensors. Some of them are airbag sensors. Some of them are motion sensors if you have a new enough vehicle, such as Champagne Bubbles. Champagne Bubbles is going to have motion sensors in the bumpers and possibly in the windshield. So that way, whenever you're approaching a vehicle too quickly, it's going to slow you down. Some of these things get really, really annoying to people, and I don't blame them because it gets to be a hassle, especially with the lane departure stuff. And oftentimes, if I'm driving a vehicle with lane departure, I actually turn it off because the lane departure gets to be so annoying that I can't function with it. So I just turn it off completely. Trying to keep this out of camera because otherwise it gets to be a little distracting. So there we go. But let's take a look at some of the things I was talking about behind this bumper before we dig into tearing apart our other one. Our other bumper has a lot that I need to remove, which is what today's topic is really doing, is we're going to be tearing this down and looking at some of this stuff as we take it apart, seeing what is salvageable and what isn't. All right, so behind here, oftentimes there'll be a windshield washer fluid bottle hiding. You'll have horns that are hiding, your connection for your headlights. Again, this is a good time if you have your bumper off, check for any corrosion on wires. Check for anything that might be damaged that you should fix. When you're putting splash shields back on, make sure that they're not rubbing against connectors where they will cause things to break in the future. Underneath here, we can see right here, we can see an airbag impact sensor. So right here is what our first impact sensor looks like. Now, some of them will have two of them. They'll hide them behind each sides of the bumper. That way they can detect if it's a corner hit. They can adjust the airbags in such a fashion. Also, we have our air intake tube hiding here. Now, this is normally tucked up underneath here like so. The reason I don't have this tucked up yet, I'm considering on doing a mod for you guys on that would show you guys how we can get rid of these silencers on the side. I currently have this one loose enough that I could take this side silencer off, but I'll need to cap this off. Some of this is designed to catch water. So as you're driving down the road, it'll splash, water will get in here. There's a bunch of little crevices and then these big chambers that are designed to catch the water and let the water run out the bottom. There's weep holes on the bottom of those. If I just go and fill the whole thing up with foam and then drill it out, what's going to happen is that water will then go up into my intake and will make my filter wet behind here. So I need to be careful on what I'm doing in there in order to still keep the drainage so that I don't wreck filters. Behind here is a frame. This frame is actually part of the headlight frame. When I had the deer hit, it actually damaged this corner down here. I had to straighten this out without scratching up the paint really bad. This was bent enough that the headlight was actually flopping around in here. It wasn't able to stay straight. Luckily, I did not break my tabs up here. These were the tabs to hold the front bumper on. So these tabs were good. Again, headlight clip, ground. So whenever we're in here, we always want to double check everything that we're doing. A good thing to check on our radiators is to make sure that these plastic tanks are not leaking. These plastic tanks are notorious for leaking. They can cause a lot of problems. And if they're leaking, it's better to get in here and fix this now than to try to put this back together and hope that that leak will get better. If we notice any seeping here, this is a great time to actually pull this radiator, because with this bumper off, it makes doing a radiator replacement so much easier. All right, so I'm going to get you guys turned around here and we're going to start getting into our bumper. Now, this is what the topic was about today. You guys, for anyone coming from my Facebook page or from my Instagram, you guys seen a reel that I made. That reel was on salvaging what's left of this damaged bumper. And why would we want to salvage anything off of this bumper? Well, to keep it simple, we want to save anything we possibly can. That's clips. That could be even our front badge on our bumper. And sometimes our license plate bracket, but that one's already cracked and bent, so I'm not saving that one. That, if I need to, I'm going to drill and take it off. If I don't need to, I'm just going to leave it on there. All right, for you guys, for the future, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of rundown. I know it's a little earlier in the video, and don't worry, I got more than enough surprises coming up for all my fans that stick around to the end. I'll get into really what we're going to be doing with this car and all the breakdown stuff that we have going on. But one thing I'll need to do is I'll need to get this tire off. My tires got to come off. I got to peel them off. And I got to make sure that we can get new tires put on it with new sensors and make sure they don't leak. Currently, I have rear tires that leak really bad. My front ones have almost zero tread left on them. So those got to get replaced. I can't keep using these tires next season. And this car is going to rapidly get into the season where I need to use it. Again, a few weeks ago, guys, we put up a poll on some content that you guys wanted to see. And one of the things you guys wanted to see was an engine build. Well, in order to do that engine build, I need this car done. And this car is pretty easy to do and get it done. The only thing is there's a few complications with finishing this one up. One of them was the parts. I have ordered all the parts that I need that are left, but most of the stuff was cosmetic, especially after the deer hit. The reason we did the motor is I knew mileage-wise, the timing chain needed to be done. Well, the best time to do that was when I had the bumper tore off because I had to take the splash shields out in order to actually do the repair. So whether I was doing just the bumper repair or I was doing that timing chain, those splash shields had to come out. That was a great time to just do all of this in one shot. And this is a little tip for you guys just to help you out. If you're ever in a situation where you're doing a project, let's say you need to replace a fender, but you need to do some engine work. The best time to do those is when you can kind of do both of them at the same time. Now, we don't always get that lucky. Sometimes we do one repair, turns around, and we have to do a different one in a different place. But when we can put multiple repairs together without having to do several different teardowns over time, not only does that save you time, but it also can save you some of the clips that you have. So when you're putting bumpers together and wheel liners, you're going to notice that inside here, those are held on with clips. Each time you take those clips apart, you wind up having to put new ones in. That adds a level of cost to your repair. No matter how you do it, those repair costs add up over time. So the more time you spend tearing the car down and putting it back together, and all the hardware and fasteners and all of that stuff that you're doing, that tends to add a bunch of cost. And in order to alleviate that cost, we try to compound these repairs as much as possible. So for this car, it was important to do all the front end work on this thing, get the tires on it. I'm going to give you guys a little tip for everyone sneaking around at the end. I'll give you guys the layout of exactly what's going to happen with this car. Like I said, the parts are ordered. I'll break it down at the end. Let's see what we can salvage off of this bumper. Okay, so here's our bumper. What we're going to do is we're going to look for anything that's worth salvaging, and then we're going to make an attempt to go in and get it. So the one thing that I want to salvage is this emblem. And in order to do that, I need to make sure that nothing is hiding on the back side, such as a fastener or a screw. If there is nothing, then I need to break the adhesive that holds this emblem on. I'm going to attempt to do this in 2 different ways. Alright, so first attempt to break the adhesive. What I'm going to do is use a pick, and we're going to try to pick behind the emblem here. And we want to get behind here to break that adhesive without chipping or cracking the chrome. The other thing I can do is use a flat screwdriver to get behind it and wiggle a little bit harder. Okay. And if I think it's going to break, what I could do is take the time to take some of these other things out and give me more access. Right now, this grill is kind of in the way. This one's somewhat in the way, even though it's almost completely broke out. So we have a couple of screws here on the back side. I'm going to bring you guys around so you can see it. And then we're going to take some of that stuff out. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to move you guys a bit. Okay, so what I'm going to be aiming for now is to get some of these screws out of the back of this bumper. And this is a shield that we might try to save if it's not broke. And we're going to try to save as much hardware and fasteners that we possibly can for this project. I don't really want to have to dig into all new hardware when putting the new bumper together, but there is going to be a lot that I will have to get new, and there's just nothing I can do about that. Okay, so we had 4 across the top here. Everybody give me some thumbs up down below if I have a good internet connection. I need to know that we have good quality video and that there isn't a whole lot of lagging going on. Just give me a thumbs up if everything's good on that end. I'm checking internet connection now. Okay. All right, I'm not seeing a whole lot of thumbs up yet, so I'm going to just keep going in this project. But yeah, everybody give me some thumbs up. Let me know that we have a good quality video. Okay. All right. I'm gonna move you guys around here a little bit. We're noticing. Try bringing you guys closer to the internet. Hopefully, we'll get a better connection this way. All right. So with this bumper, there's a lot hiding behind here. A lot of plastic components, a lot of smaller pieces. And we want to salvage as much of these pieces as we possibly can. Now, some of these are permanently broken, and I can't reuse them. That big support that goes behind our bumper, our crash bar, I should call it. This piece sits against our crash bar. And this one's broken in a few different places when I hit that deer. So, that being said, everything we're doing is kind of salvaging what is left. And what I'm taking off now is actually a shield. And this shield is designed to keep air from coming through. I'll show you guys that once I get this last screw up. Alright, so you guys just watched everything kind of fall apart there. We'll take this one piece at a time, and I'll explain everything to you guys. Okay. Alright, so our first one here is this piece. This is nothing but an air shield. So this is designed to keep airflow from coming through this top grill. Now, you might ask, why would they put that shield on this vehicle? Let me show you where this shield is located, and then hopefully I'll be able to explain to you properly why this was put in here. So, let me bring you guys around. All right, so on GM vehicles, the airflow is designed to come in through the grills, and it's designed to cool down your AC condenser and your radiator. On the Malibus, there's a top grill piece that comes across. That grill piece is cosmetic. They don't want airflow going in there, so this shield is put in there to stop the airflow. And the reason they want to stop the airflow, because they want it to come through the main grill right here. They want the airflow to come in here and then down here. They don't want airflow through here because this is already going to be in the way. This is a crash bar that cannot be removed. And if you try to remove this, you'll lose all support for your front bumper. So this has to remain. What they did was they put this shield on here, though, to block the airflow on that top piece of the grill that just fell out and hit the ground. So right there, you can see the grill piece on the ground. Now, this is my busted up grill. This is the one that's junk that I cannot save. We've already got the new piece of the grill, so this one I'm going to cut up and then pretty much dispose of it. It is literally cracked in half. This one is not worth trying to do a plastic weld or even try to save it, because this thing only costs about 40 bucks. So not worth the cost. This piece, on the other hand, I was not able to find this piece. This is that shield. We want to keep this shield. This shield needs to go back in on the new bumper. So we've salvaged one of our first pieces that we need. Next, we're going to look at this chrome grille and how this is in there. Okay, so this chrome grille just snaps in. They've actually got lips on the bumper that hold this in place. It's basically a clip style, so what you do is you slide the bumper in on the bottom side here, get it fixed into place, and then you press the top side in to get it to click in. Now this piece, I'm looking to see if it's broke. Oh, P. Norton 75, good to have you. Yeah, that's plastic for you. It's good to hear from my wrench squad. You guys are awesome. So on this isn't actually bad, but we got a brand new one. So what we're going to do is we will remove these clips, and I'll note the location of them. When I pull these clips, I'm actually going to pull these and snap them into the new piece. So that we may do at the end of this video. Otherwise, I will do that off screen if I don't think it'll be that big a deal. Now, with this, we want to make sure that it's not damaged or cracked. If it was, that would be a good time to replace it. And I'm going to consider whether I'm going to replace it with the new one or not, based on how the new one looks. I also will check all of these tabs to make sure that none of these tabs are busted. The last thing I want to do is put this grill back together and have a broken tab that comes back to me and causes me to tear the whole bumper apart just to replace this grill. And anything that's cracked, oftentimes with plastic, you guys will notice small hairline cracks sometimes. Now this did not take as big a hit as the other one that we're looking at, but good thing I did. Good thing I took the time here. Guys, there's a crack right here. So good thing I bought this piece. This crack actually extends a little bit to the outside and it's hard to see, but this is why we replace this stuff. Especially during a crash or an impact, it's not worth trying to reuse a partially broken piece. I'll show you guys at the end how I take those clips out. I'm not going to do it now. It's very distracting and it's very minute work. Again, we have another grill piece here, but we have this bumper piece here. So I'm going to look and see how this is attached. We have a mounting point on this grill, meaning that there should have been a mounting point on this one over here. Those are broke. At least the one on this side is. So I'm going to remove that screw and see if we can pull that impact bracket. And of course that one's broken. So we have a lot broken right here just in this piece. And you guys are about to see that here shortly once I finish getting all of this apart. Okay. What I'm doing is trying to get the socket that fits that. So well, Pete Horton, this is why I got a producer. I just got your message as I'm working on this, and you are absolutely correct. Most cars nowadays have a shelf life of maximum 7 years. And at the end of that 7 years, they do expect you to buy a new car. Well, what I'm here to do is help teach you guys how to prolong the life of your car to make it last past those 7 years. This is the reason why we did this repair on the engine and the timing chain last week, is that timing chain repair was crucial to being able to keep this car on the road long term. I got a weird size there's a weird size nut on the license plate frame. I'm trying to remove that right now because the license plate frame is actually holding that bracket on. What happened was they ran too big of screws through the license plate bracket. This is a common thing when you get vehicles in a two-plate state. They will just put whatever screws they have laying around in it to be able to sell the vehicle. And as you saw, this screw was what was holding that in there. So we had to get those out, and they're two different screws, two different sizes. I will be fixing that when I put this back together. That will bug me. All right, so our crash bumper piece is almost completely out, and our grill just fell out because it's broken in several pieces. In fact, guys, our grill pieces are laying down in here. So these are all broken pieces of this grill from this deer hit. Okay, here's our crash bar. Now I say that this bumper support for the crash bar would be good. The problem with this is we do have some broken pieces on this. Let me show you guys where those are. Yeah, P. Norton, you're absolutely right. Basically, nowadays cars are disposable, and that's been the problem in the U.S. for the longest time. Is we're not making cars that people can rebuild. We're building cars that people will throw away after a certain amount of time. And the throwaway cars are not helping this country, because what's happening is it's pushing the used car market almost to the point of non-existence. And the dealerships want it that way. I'll get into that in the news. But that was just kind of a sneak peek of the future news coming up here, guys. But this corner here is completely broke out of that bumper support. I can see spots where this thing's taken a pretty decent hit already. So I would rather not use this if I don't have to. Plus, there are some spots that are pretty weak. There's a crack here. This all pertains to the strength of this crash bar. When this crash bar doesn't have the strength left in it anymore, this doesn't do an adequate job of supporting the car during an impact. I'm going to show you guys what this crash bar looks like. So here's the crash bar. This is designed to take and absorb impact. This plastic is meant to absorb a hit before it does damage to your main support underneath. This is the metal crash bar. This takes damage before the engine compartment does. But this takes the first initial hit. This piece was damaged enough that I did buy a new one because I knew that I was not going to be able to reuse this on the new bumper. Okay, so we're getting down to the nitty-gritty on this bumper. Here's what we've got. We got the top grill out and bottom grill out. We have a very low grill, and we have our fog light covers. And obviously we still have our emblem or badge on the vehicle. I'm going to do the badge and emblem probably last at this point. But this grill, broken. Not worth saving. I'm going to take the hardware out and we'll try to save this hardware. Again, some of this I'm not going to do on camera. I'll do a few of them for you guys, but I'm not going to do them all. Next, let's see if we can get that chrome out. Now this chrome is broken severely, meaning that this would have to be replaced. Okay, so what I'm doing is I just do one corner and then work my way around. Eventually it'll just pop loose. But yeah, this piece shattered. I can even see where the plastic has ground against the back of the bumper support, meaning that when this thing took a hit, it ground against this. So our new one won't do that. All right, we're not saving our license plate frame. There's a rivet here that if I wanted to save it, I could drill it out and save it, but the hit also cracked the license plate frame, so I'm just putting a new one on. For what that costs, it's not worth trying to salvage it. This grill, on the other hand, down here, I don't think I bought this one. So this one, I want to save. Actually, I think I got it in the kit. So we are going to try to get this one out. I want to show you guys how to get it out. It doesn't do you guys any good if I don't show you every step of this process. So we're going to take this one out. So there are plastic tabs all the way around on it. Let me make sure I got you guys in the shot. I'll lower you guys down just a bit. In fact, I'll bring you in closer. Those are the plastic clips that we need to lift up when we pull that grill out. So that's what I'm going to do next. Thank you guys for hitting that like button. That means a lot. We're trying to grow this channel in 2025, and we can't do that without your guys' support. So likes and subscribes will help us get there. Okay, so I start with one side, get a corner going, and then move my way around. Almost from left to right type deal. And I need to get it up enough to get it over the clip. So now that I've got it over, now I just walk my way around it and loosen them all up. One side note, if you guys are doing this and you're trying to save the bumper, like your bumper's good and the paint is good, make sure you lay a rug down so that you don't scratch up your bumper. For me, the bumper's bad, so I'm not concerned if I scratch this bumper. And I'm just trying to save what's left of this so that I can use it on the new bumper. Okay, so I've got my top all worked loose. I just have to do the same across the bottom. Now I want to be careful if I lay this down because I am trying to save my badge. So I don't want my badge on the ground. Sometimes you have to flip these around, you have to flip them upside down. Again, this is why we want to lay those rugs down. But on a bumper that's already destroyed, I don't got to worry about scratching paint. Sometimes with these, you got to be a little rough when you're trying to pull these out. You don't want to break the tabs. I'll show you guys those tabs once I get 3 more of these out, 4 more. Okay, so there is our lower grill. And how this is held in there is only by these plastic tabs. And you have to go in, pry on the tab, and lift them or separate them from the grill. So your grill is in here, your tab is in here. You want to put separation this way between the grill and that tab. Alright, I know we only got 4 of you guys in here. If you haven't hit that like button yet, please do. It helps the channel, helps with the engagement. We really want to grow this channel this year, so please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Here's this lower grill. These slots is where those tabs go in. In order to get those out, you have to stick your screwdriver in here and twist up, prying those tabs up so that they can clear. You have to do that for enough of these to where you can pop this grill out. And this one pops out pretty easy. This one isn't too bad. This one isn't in bad shape, but I have it new in the kit, so I'm not going to reuse it. I might actually hang on to it as a spare though. All right, so what's left is this badge right here. That's all that's left on this bumper. And then we're done with this bumper. Other than taking that out right there. And I'm going to show you guys that. But I want to try working on this badge a little bit before we get too much farther into this. I really want to save this badge, guys, because I've done some customizing to this. These badges are not usually black on these cars. And I sprayed mine with a durable coating. This is actually a bed liner coating. And this will withstand any of the bug splatter that I get on it. And it'll be easier to wash it off. So I would prefer not to damage my emblem. Now I know some people say take fishing line, that's one way to do it. Actually, I'm going to show you guys a trick. All right. So when you know that you got a bumper that you're not saving, when you know that it's not worth salvaging, and you need to remove an emblem like this, don't be afraid to just cut up the bumper and take it out. I can't salvage this bumper. It's already damaged. It's cracked in places that I can't use. So to make my life easier when removing this, I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. And then with the smaller piece in my hand, I'll be able to do a lot better job getting this emblem out without damaging it. Okay. I know you guys are probably saying, why don't you hang it up in the garage? I could have, but this thing is actually just so damaged that it wouldn't even look good hanging on the wall. This thing is severely damaged. So before we even started this repair, that side there that's all cracked up, that was from the deer hit. So there was no real way to salvage that at this point. Pretty soon I'm going to be asking for you guys' opinion on something. You might see it hiding behind me while I move some stuff around. Now I've already kind of bought them, so I'm probably going to put them in anyway. I just want to see what you guys think about these before we get too carried away. For my mod squad guys, please get the word out that we do these every Saturday at 1 p.m. I will get consistent about going live at 1 p.m. Last week was a fluke. So last week we had a little bit of a snag. I needed to get the engine put together before I went live. I did not want to show you guys the repair without the timing marks being right. Because if I showed you guys wrong, then you guys would be doing it wrong, and I didn't want that. So it took me a little longer to refine the timing marks. So that's why I went a little bit later last week. But yes, my mod squad, make sure you guys are letting people know that we do these lives. I do this rather than trying to do pre-records. Pre-records to me take too much time away from my family and my home life, where the lives give me a chance to interact with you guys, answer questions, help you guys out with your project. And that's more meaningful to me. is the whole reason I did this was to give back. And it's too hard to give back on a pre-record because you guys just watch what I do and I'm not answering questions at the end. So now we have our small piece in hand. What we're going to try to do is get behind it and underneath it and to slowly break the glue layer apart. So we're going to get our pick underneath and work our way around to get some space underneath this without damaging this emblem. The nice thing about cutting this out like this, I can flex this if I need to get in there. I couldn't do this with it on the car. Now, a lot of these cars have these badges falling off because they might take them off like we are. They won't put the proper glue on it. And there's a little stub back here. These are alignment stubs. We don't want to break these off, but these stubs, actually, the one is big enough we could put a grind nut on it. And I call them this because they kind of chew up the backside. But if you put one of these on the back side, this right here, these won't get chewed up, meaning that when you put these on there, they're going to bite into the plastic and it's going to lock that badge onto the panel even if the glue fails. You got to get the right one, and I'm going to look for it, and then I'll let you guys know when we're doing the reassembly process. Wire. All right. So I'm going to attempt to flex this and get behind here with my pick and just slowly work this up. Now, I want to be careful on how I do this. I don't want to use a straight pick, because if I'm using this and a straight pick and I slip, I'm going to stab myself. So I'm using the 90-degree pick tool. I'm not putting much pressure, and I'm just walking around the edge of it, is all I'm doing. And this is just enough to pop the adhesive glue layer. Again, you would not be able to do this if it was still on the vehicle. Okay, so we've got a corner loose here already. And it helps to jump around to different corners. I'll turn you guys so you can see a little bit better. So it helps to jump around and do a few different corners just to kind of help break the adhesive. The one thing you don't want to do is break those alignment tabs. So slow and steady is the way to go on this. If you get aggressive, you're going to scratch the chrome or chip it. Also, what could happen is you actually wind up breaking it. Then you're going to wind up buying a new one anyway. Then I'd have to show you guys how to paint that one black, because I'm not going to keep the gold ones on there. I've already eliminated the gold ones off of the car already. So we're not going to keep any of the gold Chevrolet badging on the car. This emblem is really held on there, and this glue is really strong. I might wind up having to get a little bit more aggressive with this. And if it doesn't work out the way I want, we might be buying another batch. Bill, good to have you in here. So yeah, the reason I'm trying to not use the string method is because I don't want somebody to use a string on a recessed badge like this, because that string will actually cut into the paint. If this badge sat up on top of this panel, I could use a string and go underneath it, and I wouldn't have to worry about scratching the paint. But because this is a recessed badge, what I'm trying to do is get behind this without actually damaging the badge. And because I've already cut this off of the car, see, now I've got enough here that I could get in with a blade, and now we could cut some of this glue away. So this is only if you're trying to salvage the badge. If you guys buy a brand new one or don't care to put the badge back on, you don't have to. A lot of people run around with the badges off, but here's the thing. On a car that already has holes, and our new bumper does because it's designed for this badge, if you leave that off, it shows that you replaced the bumper and didn't replace everything back to the way it was. If you were trying to trade the car in like that, it's actually a bad thing to do because it's the first red flag they're going to notice when they walk up to the car. So anytime you have something like this, you're better off either replacing it or salvaging what you've got. And we're trying to salvage it, but they really put this stuff on there this time. Most of the time, these badges practically fall right off the car, but this one's really glued on there. So what you guys are seeing me do is just work the back plastic to crack the seal on it away from the badging. Again, we don't want to break these tabs. So I'm going as slow as possible to break these away. And yes, Bill mentioned the string technique. The reason I don't like doing the string on a recess, I know I said it, but I've done this because I've been in the auto body industry long enough to know when to use a string and when not to. Stuff like this where it's recessed down in, if you took a string, you would actually cut this edge with the string. You couldn't get a clean cut in here with a piece of string. So the best thing to do on a bumper that you're already going to throw away is cut it out and just work the bumper back and forth around the badge to get it to relax or to open up. And once the adhesive breaks enough and opens up, you'll have access to the back. Then you can get a little bit more aggressive with like a screwdriver. So like here, I've got enough of this tore away now that I can actually get in here with a little razor blade and I can keep cutting this away as I go. Yeah, Bill, it's good to see you in here. It's good to have my mods in. You guys are awesome. So little by little, we're peeling this away. And I'll show you guys once I can get this down a little bit farther. So little by little, we're peeling this away from this badge. And this is what we want. We want to just go little by little. So we're going to have a bunch of glue behind here, guys, at the end. And we can easily take that glue off with either a razor blade or general purpose adhesive remover. Either one will work just fine. Well, what I'm trying to do is separate this now carefully to not break this badge. Like I said, this only works if your bumper's destroyed. If you got a good bumper, you can't use this trick because you need it off the car, and you're not, once you cut this off the car, this piece is not going back on. So if you would be removing this while it was on the car, which you could do, take a heat gun on the back side and heat this up. It'll loosen up the glue. Then when you get behind it with either a screwdriver or something, you'll be able to easily break the surface tension because the glue will be heated up. Again, we're only doing this to save the badge. That's all this is. We're trying to do it in a way that won't crack or damage the badge. We don't want to chip the chrome, get it to peel or bubble. So one thing I'm not concerned about is flexing this piece, but I don't want to put any pressure on this badge and cause this center piece to pop out. I also don't want to bend or crack the badging. So we flex this only when we know we're not putting undue pressure on the ears on this badge. Now this would be the same whether you were doing a badge on a Dodge, on a Ford, Toyota badges, any of them that have the adhesive glue on the back. You don't want to put the pressure on the badge itself. The badge is weak. It's cheap plastic, and sometimes this glue is super, super strong. So what we want to do is put the pressure on the piece we no longer need, which is this piece. Now, if this is painted and it's on the vehicle and you're trying to salvage this, this is more important than the badge. You'll buy a new badge at that point, and you won't be trying to salvage your old one. For us, the bumper was bad, so we are willing to damage the bumper piece because the new bumper has this. So we are trying to salvage the badge. This is a pretty rare instance. Most of the time the badging is what you're replacing, not the bumper. But for us, because we had a deer hit, that's what we're doing. There it is. So our old one. As you can see, GM put a lot of adhesive on this one. They designed these not to fall off. What I suspect is happening is people have damaged bumpers. They're peeling their badging off like this. They're not cleaning this gunk off the back, and then they're not putting the right double-sided tape on the back side to get this badge to stick back down to the panel. Also, they're not putting that nut on there that I talked about that cuts into this plastic. If you put that nut on there, it's going to lock it down in to where it won't come back out. Bill, thanks. I was a little late. No, not a problem, Bill. Like I said, it's always good to have my mods in here. You guys are going to help build this channel and help make us what we are. I'm so appreciative of all my mods. Guys, help get the word out there. Make sure people like and subscribe. Make sure they come and check out our content. We've got a lot coming for the future. We have an engine build coming in the future. I've got a lot more coming on the Malibu that I'll be talking about here in just a little bit after we finish stripping this bumper down. So before you put this on the new bumper, make sure you take the time to peel all of this glue off. This is a double-sided foam adhesive, double-sided, 3M, and you're going to replace all of it on here. Don't just run a strip across the bottom and a strip across the top and call it good. You need to cover this whole badge with this double-sided tape. That's why these fall off later on when people are trying to work on these. Or you see a car go down the road and it's missing in the front badge and it doesn't have that bumper relief, like it doesn't have the cutout relief for this badge. That means that they replaced the bumper, either didn't salvage the emblem, or when they did, they didn't clean the adhesive off and didn't stick it down properly. And the old one, or the old emblem, fell off the new bumper. That is usually the case of what happens. So this is a time-consuming process, and we're not going to sit here and do this while we want to finish other things. But just know that I will be cleaning this off camera, and it's just, I'm going to try to rub as much of the glue off as I can. If I need to, I'm going to use an eraser wheel on a drill. The eraser wheel will bite into this without damaging the plastic. If I get too carried away, it will. Also, what I can use is a razor blade. This blade will help me get underneath and cut down any of the high side stuff. And in some cases, it'll give me a starting point to be able to rub the adhesive off. So, but this all has to get cleaned off. So, yes, lots of work to do on here. This is the most time-consuming part when you're trying to salvage a bumper. Now, we did have to pry and pull on this badge a little bit. It wouldn't hurt for us to take it over on the new bumper and make sure it's going to fit good. We might have tweaked the badge, and I would hate to get to the install process and realize that the badge is messed up and then have to stop the install. But honestly, guys, I wouldn't stop the install. I would just install it, buy a new badge, do my painting, and then I would install the new badge after I got it painted to match the rest of my badging on the car. Let's take this over on the new bumper. I want to give you guys a sneak peek of what's coming with that new bumper. All right, so here it is. Guys, the secret sauce to this bumper is this is an eBay bumper that I bought. An eBay bumper that I painted, or had the company that sold it to me on eBay. they color matched this bumper for me. So this is meant to color match to my paint code. And okay. The new badge will work, but there is no relief. Like it's not this is not a recessed badge on this car. You guys will get a better picture of it when we get it put back together. And we're not going to be putting the new one on today, guys. We're going to actually probably do that as a separate video because I have a lot of stuff to clean up. And I want to do a plastic weld video for you guys because there is a shroud opposite of that shroud that's designed to go right there. That shroud broke the ear off. So I'll need to plastic weld that on there. That gets back to the tool live video that I did for you guys here 2 weeks ago, I believe. I did a kind of a cheap tool versus expensive tool video, and in there I had the plastic welding tool. Well, that plastic welding tool is needed for this job. And in order to fix that piece, I need to weld that tab back on. And it's not going to be a hard thing to do, but I want to do it in a way that I can take my time. I don't want to rush that because with that, it's such a small piece that I get one shot at it. What I did notice when I put it up onto the bumper is this badge was bent in a bit. Now, compared to the bumper, this might suck to it with the adhesive, but I'm going to need to get one of those crush style nuts, like I said, right here, to go on the back side of this, because I'm going to need to tighten this down and provide pressure in the center of the badge to pull it to the car. This is why these fall off the cheap aftermarket bumpers, because they're not able to get a good adhesive connection through the center of the badge, because the badge is actually being held up on the outer corners, meaning that these corners are the only thing holding this badge. When they go to put this on there, it falls off, because anything that gets behind it will just keep pushing the badge off the car until it falls. So we're going to get ours cleaned up. I'm going to put the double-sided tape on it to get this back where it needs to be. But the trick is I'm going to get one of those nuts to put on there that'll go right onto this plastic. It'll cut into it, and as I tighten it up, it's going to pull the center of this badge in like it should, so it can't fall off the car. With that nut on there, this badge is not going anywhere, and that's what we want. But between the nut and the new double-sided tape that I'm putting on here after I get the oodles of old stuff off of here, this badge will be nice and solid, and I won't have to worry about replacing my badge. Now, the reason that I didn't just go out and buy a new one, and I could have went and bought a new one, peeled the center out of it, cleaned it out, painted this one black like I did this one, and used the new badge, was I wanted to show you guys how to do this if you wanted to save a little money on your project. These aren't super expensive. You could just buy another one. But if I just throw away everything and I don't look for good parts, I'm not showing you guys how to do anything other than just replace things. And it's important for me to show you guys how to salvage some of these that are still good. Unfortunately, when we were looking at our plastics, the only thing that was good was that air dam on the top grill support. That's it. Everything else on this bumper was shattered beyond repair. And to even plastic weld all of this stuff back together, number one, the grills are not able to be plastic welded. It's thin plastic. You can't weld those and get it to stay. So if you can't do a quality repair, there's no point in trying to do it. You're better off just cut your losses, and put the new parts on it. The other thing is some of the stuff took such an impact, like the backside of our crash bumper, that we don't want to reuse that. We want the new one on there because when these things take hits, they're designed to get crushed. They're designed that they take the hit and not let it damage through the vehicle if it's a light enough hit. So a light deer hit will probably damage this, but it may not damage the crash bar behind it. And that's exactly what happened to our car. Is it damaged the plastics, but not the crash bar. Had the damage went into the crash bar, I could tell you guys right now, Malibu steel would not be here. I'd be sending it down the road and letting it go. I would not have done the timing on it. I would not be doing any of the bumper stuff, and I definitely would not be doing what I've already bought the parts for. Let's go ahead and get into that. So, as you guys know, Malibu steel has become somewhat of a project here on the channel. We're doing a lot with it. The reason for that is that car will take over the daily driver slot during the good months when weather's nice, when things are not needing a four-wheel drive. And we have Crimson Vortec for that. But the other reason is when we go to change the motor in Crimson Vortec, which may not happen yet this year. That depends on me finding good machine shops to do my machining. We got to get the motor. We got to tear it down. I need to show you guys what I'm doing. I'm going to show you guys how I blueprint a motor, how I go from top to bottom, figure out exactly what I want to do to it before it goes to the machine shop. Those are really big things to know. If you guys don't or haven't done this in the past, it's crucial to know how you want that motor to run. What kind of RPMs do you want to run? What kind of horsepower you want out of the engine? These are all key factors. And not having all those pieces into place makes your engine build sloppy. And oftentimes you either won't get the power out of it or you'll miss something and damage a brand new engine. So it's pretty crucial to make sure that you have a good machine shop that you trust and have it somewhat laid out the way you want it. Kind of have an understanding of what your compression ratio is going to be before you take it to the shop. And now that's going to change slightly depending on how much they have to machine off of the head and how much they might have to machine off the block if you're going to deck the block. These are all processes I'm going to talk about when we go to do that engine. But to get to that point, we got to finish Malibu steel. What do we got coming up on Malibu steel? Guys, we're going to do shocks and struts on this car. And the reason we have to do the shocks and struts, they are shot. These shocks and struts on these cars are not meant to go probably more than about 5 years. This is a 2012, meaning that this car is 12 years old, almost probably now 13. Shocks and struts have never been changed in this car. I can feel it in the rear when I hit a bump, it'll bounce a little bit, meaning that the rear shocks don't have enough strength left in them. Now, if you buy cheap online shocks, meaning you don't buy a name brand shock, you're going to wind up getting a shock that you'll only put in for about a year or two, and then it's going to go south on you. When it goes south on you, you're going to wind up putting more shocks and struts in it. What I suggest is spending the money for good quality shocks and struts and don't change them as often. Oftentimes I will tell people buy OEM AC Delcos if it's GM, Motorcraft if it's Ford, and Mopar if it's Dodge. Stick to those and you'll be all right. It's when you veer off of that that you run into problems. So make sure that you're putting quality parts in it. Again, I trust Monroe as far as an aftermarket brand. There's a few more when it comes to shocks and struts, but I never trust anything on Amazon or eBay that doesn't have some kind of brand name to it. You can get a lot of no-name shocks and struts. They might last a year. And I'll give you guys a cautionary tale on wheel bearings. Do not buy no-name wheel bearings online. Make sure that they're either a Monroe or AC Delco or Motorcraft wheel bearing. Do not buy the no-name wheel bearings. You will replace them within a year. So, little cautionary tale for you guys that are online shoppers who are trying to get a good deal. That's not a place to get a good deal. You don't save money when you buy those kind of wheel bearings. Just because you can buy a wheel bearing for 30 bucks and the true replacement AC Delcos are 130, you need to spend the 130. You need to buy the name brand because otherwise they just won't last. And I've been working at getting these off, getting this glue off while we talk. This is a very slow and tedious process. You can spend hours rubbing at the back of this. You can loosen it up with some stuff, but if you've painted this, you have to be careful what chemical you use because you could strip this off with any harsh chemical, or you can tarnish the chrome. So usually a good thing to do is put a little bit of general purpose adhesive remover on the back side of this. This will soften the glue and help you be able to get that off of there. I'm probably going to soak this overnight and let it sit before I try to do anything with this. Just kind of the way I do these badging in this glue. I'll soak it, let it sit, and then it works good. So we're going to go ahead and get into the news, and then I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. It's been a good live, and I'm going to show you guys one last thing. I know I talked to you guys about something as far as what I want to do. So you guys can probably kind of see it behind me a little bit, but we're going to go ahead. I'm going to slide you guys back a little bit farther. So when I hit the deer, I was fully expecting us to replace the headlights. One of the headlights were really loose, like extremely loose. And these are my stock ones. So, stock headlights. Here's what I'm thinking for aftermarkets. So, the reason I'm going to go with these is it's a little less chrome than the stock. Try to hold this so I can hold both of them. So, little less chrome than the stocks. And it'll work better with the light that I like to use the most, LEDs. So the reason I use LED lights is at night, it's just so much better to drive with LEDs than anything else. If you have LED lights, you're going to see a lot farther. Now, we are going to have to adjust these LEDs. And unfortunately, when it comes to LEDs, a lot of people don't adjust them properly, or they use the stock lenses that are meant for incandescent lights. These are meant for incandescent, meaning that you put an LED in here and all it does is spread it wide and it's really bright in everyone's eyes. These won't spread that light like that. Plus on the stock ones, inside there, it has a bow tie carved into the center of the shield, and that's just as a cool factor. This one does not have that bow tie in it. It's completely closed, as you guys can see it reflecting light right there in the center. That will help shield that bright light from getting into people's eyes. So, kind of a sneak peek of how this assembly process is going to go. Next week, I may have got two options for videos here, guys. I might be doing a video on what to do when you guys buy your next used car. I do have a customer bringing one in on a Saturday. He may let us use the vehicle to kind of demo what to look for when you're going over that used car. You may not get a lot of time to really dig into things that I'll be able to show you in that video, but you might be able to get some things that'll help you on your next used car purchase, kind of things to watch out for, things that'll help you save you money down the road. And a lot of the tricks that I'll show you in there are really going to kind of help you out. So that's one video I could do for you guys. The other one is going to be continuing to reassemble Malibu steel. If you guys get a chance, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell. We want to grow this channel. It's really important for us to grow in 2025. We want our subscribers up. We want our viewership up. We're trying to do some different stuff for you guys behind the scenes. So I'm going to work on trying to get topics out to you guys earlier so that you guys know each week what it'll be. I'm going to aim for that time to be roughly, I want to make sure that you guys get the topics by about Thursday. Any of the people that are on Facebook or Instagram, you guys get a reel. And I put together a reel for you guys on there, usually has some music on it. And you guys will get the topic beforehand. Those I want done on Thursdays going forward in the future. Now, that requires me taking some preliminary photos early as far as what to look for and what to do for you guys for topics. So that's what we're doing behind the scenes here at Bad Wrench Automotive. Also, what we're trying to do is make sure that we get fresh topics for you guys every week. And myself and my producer are working to make sure we keep things fresh and interesting for you guys. If you guys have any ideas, make sure you either leave them down in the comments below or go into the About section. There's an email address in there. Hit us up via email and drop your ideas or topics in there, and we'll do a video on it for you. Again, guys, thank you for all your support. Continue hitting the like button, the subscribe button. Ring that notification bell so you get notified when we go live, and I'll see you on the next one.